Hello, everyone. Welcome to the webcast. We'll begin shortly. We'll just wait a couple more minutes for people to join. Okay, let's get started. So hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Welcome to the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society of Canada's new volunteer-led webcast series, Cancer Doesn't Stop and Neither Do We. Today, we're going to talk about how to make a compelling ask. My name is Ashley Warner, and I'll be your host today. This presentation will last approximately 50 minutes and will be followed by a 10-minute question and answer period. To submit a question, simply use the question function. This presentation will also be recorded and will be sent out after the concludes. Okay, in this new webcast series, we have developed this series. It's been designed by you, for you, featuring you. Light the Night fundraisers and community heroes who don't stop when things get hard or they find barriers in their way. They persevere, showing their resiliency and commitment for people who've been affected by blood cancers. Because as we know, cancer patients don't get to quit when things get hard. They endure pain and hardship and they keep going. Cancer doesn't stop and neither do they. Neither do we and neither do you. We want to thank you so much for being the shining light in so many lives. You could have chosen to sit back and do nothing, but here you are, wondering how to get involved and keep supporting the blood cancer community. That's pretty extraordinary. When things go back to normal, we will remember you and all those others who stepped up to help their communities thrive. At the LLSC, our mission is to cure blood cancer and improve the quality of life for patients and their families. And COVID-19 isn't slowing down the work we do. If anything, it has given us a tiny taste of what cancer patients go through during isolation. It has inspired us to think smarter, act quicker, and work harder than we ever have before. But we need you to know that none of this is ever possible without you. You are the engine that supports all this great work. You are the engine that makes the impossible possible. So on behalf of the blood cancer community, thank you. Today, you will hear from 3 incredible speakers who have persevered and risen to great heights to support the blood cancer community. They will speak to you about, how to be confident when asking for donations, why it's important to share your story, how to inspire others to join your team, how to utilize the talents of your team, how to embrace rejection and show gratitude. Ultimately answering the question, how to make a compelling ask in order to help propel your fundraising forward, especially during these unusual times, and how to make a lasting impact for people affected by blood cancers. So before we get started and hear from our amazing speakers, I wanted to start with a quick poll. So in a moment, you'll see the poll pop up on your screen. And our question for you is, how comfortable are you when asking for donations? Are you extremely uncomfortable? You hate it. You don't like it at all. You're just uncomfortable. You're somewhat uncomfortable. You're somewhat comfortable. You're comfortable or extremely comfortable. So we'll just give you maybe 10, 15 more seconds to make sure everyone kind of selects their choice. All right. Oh, wow. Okay. So 34% of you feel comfortable, which is fantastic. But yeah, I see a lot of people, somewhat uncomfortable to extremely uncomfortable. It's not something that everyone is super comfortable with. So that's why we're here today. So that's great. Okay, so I am really pleased to introduce to you our first speaker today, Anna Bocchino. Anna lives in Laval, Quebec. She's a busy mother of 3 with a passion for helping others. In 2018, one of Anna's close family members was diagnosed with blood cancer. The following day, she took action and hasn't stopped since. In 2020, her Light the Night team was awarded the Brandone Marco Vecchio Family of the Year Award for their dedication and drive towards helping the blood cancer community. I am very pleased to welcome Anna to you all today.
Thank you, Ashley. Hello, everyone. My name is Anna Bocchino, and it's an honor to be here speaking to all of you today. I have been part of the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society community for the past 2 years now, and our journey began on September 7th, 2018, the day my nephew Adamo, who was only 3 at the time, was diagnosed with ALL. I'm here today to ease any anxieties or insecurities you may have when it comes to fundraising, and I hope to be able to give you some useful tips as well. On the day following my nephew's diagnosis, I knew that something needed to be done. And so we created Team Piccolo Grande Amore, which means little small love, little big love, which is an Italian song. I was slightly familiar with Light the Night, and as a former colleague was involved with the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, following his daughter's battle with cancer, but I didn't know much more about it. I signed our team up for the first annual walk here in Laval, and put in a team goal of $1,000. I then took to Facebook and Instagram and posted the link to join and donate. And without revealing my nephew's name, as everything was still fresh and I wanted to keep the confidentiality to respect my brother and sister-in-law, of course, I asked my social media friends to help and donate as we were walking and raising money for blood cancer. Little did I know that in only 1 week, we would raise $8,000. The evening of our first walk, our team consisted of over 70 people, and I was truly shocked and overwhelmed. Right before the walk began, we got news that my nephew was heading home after a tough first week in the hospital and the beginning of his treatments. We walked for him that night and for everyone affected by cancer. Following the success we had with fundraising so much in such a short period of time,
webcast,
I knew that the social media platforms were the way to go. With only 1 month to go before the annual Montreal Walk in October, I was given the okay to reveal that the team had been created because of my amazing nephew Adamo, and the support was incredible. We managed to raise another $8,000, bringing us to $16,000 in less than 2 months. And all this through the power of social media, an incredible community of family and friends and supporters. In January 2019, we had the incredible honor of assisting our first Leukemia and Lymphoma Society Awards Gala and being nominated for the William Brock Courage to Inspire Award. We kicked our fundraising into gear, and Adamo was chosen as Boy of the Year for 2019. I was a very proud aunt, that's for sure. My brother and sister-in-law, along with one of the nominees for Women of the Year, Christina Capobianco, organized an incredible event called An Evening in Napoli, which through sponsors, donations, and ticket sales, over $50,000 were raised. We then went on to walking in the Laval and Montreal walks once again, adding to the amounts raised. And once again, through the power of social media and our growing Piccolo Grande Amore community, which now has its own hashtag. 2020 began on a high, as Team Piccolo Grande Amore was awarded, as Ashley mentioned, the Brandone Marco Vecchio Family of the Year Award. It was an incredible honor to receive that award and know that we were making a difference in the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society community. Once the pandemic began, our fundraising campaign took a standstill and uncertainty hit. How would we raise money? What will we be able to do? Would our second annual gala be able to take place? Would we be able to attend the walks? Sadly, we did have to cancel our gala in May, one that would have allowed us to raise a significant amount. However, we quickly realized we would need to come up with more creative ways to raise money. Through the power of social media and the help of our incredible team of family and friends, we came up with new fundraising ideas. Our goal was to team up with local businesses and influencers. We were approached by wonderful people who wanted to help us make a difference. As you can see here, we do have different ways that we have begun fundraising this year. One of the options that we currently have is beginning on the 26th of September, which is called Pizza with a Purpose. We have teamed up with San Gennaro, as well as Alessandra Tropeano, who is this year's Woman of the Year, to raise money for Light the Night 2020. 15% of the pizza sales will be donated to our team for the walk. As well, we had a wonderful donator who donated water bottles to us, as you can see in the picture with my nephew. So they're Piccolo Grande Amore water bottles, which we were selling for $20 each. Because of the donation, the full $20 from each bottle sold will be donated to the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society for a grand total of $3,000. To continue with our fundraisers, we include as well Enrico Bocchino, who is a local realtor here in Montreal, who will be donating $500 from each transaction closed throughout the month of September. As well, you will notice Steak Bleu, who is a local meat delivery company, who will be donating $10 from each box sold this year. As you can see here, this slide isn't in French, so just want to give a little shout out to the French-speaking community here as well, and throughout the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society community. So hello to all, and we continue as well with a Tupperware campaign with Enza Safiro, who is a Tupperware representative. So Tupperware has a fantastic campaign going on at the moment, and 40% of sales from this special campaign will be donated to the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, as well as 10% from their regular campaign, which is fantastic. Within the next couple of months, we will be partnering up with other local companies and continue reaching out to our community. To resume, fundraising should not feel like a chore, but like a great challenge for an amazing cause. Don't be shy to approach businesses and individuals, as so many have been in the same position and may have a strong connection to the cause. What I can say is that you can speak from the heart, share your personal experiences, and most of all, find your why. It can be a family member, such as my nephew, a friend, or simply because no one should have to experience cancer. I'd like to leave you today with this wonderful quote by Henry Ford. Coming together is a beginning. Keeping together is a progress. Working together is success. Let your voices be heard, and let's continue to make a difference. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anna. That was beautiful. Thank you for sharing your story, and I hope that your nephew is doing well.
Thank you very much.
Great. So on to our next speaker today, which is Stephen Crane. Stephen is the president of C&W Offshore in Mount Pearl, Newfoundland and Labrador. Stephen became involved with the LSC after a close friend of his passed away from a blood cancer just last year. In Stephen's first year participating in the Light the Night event in St. John's, his team was awarded the top fundraising team. It is a pleasure to introduce to you today, Stephen Crane.
Thank you very much, Ashley. Hey, everybody, and thanks for tuning in to the LLSC fundraising series. As Ashley said, my name is Stephen Crane, and I'm president of C&W Offshore Mount Pearl. I'm also the chair of the inaugural corporate committee for this year's Light the Night virtual event in St. John's. So, as Ashley mentioned, part of the reason that I've been asked to speak is because of my connection. And also, I'm in a little bit of a unique position, I guess, that I've been involved in a personal team, and this year I have entered a corporate team. So my first year participating in the event was 2018, and this is last year. So in 2018, I was there as a supporter, as my best friend for over 20 years, Chuck Lewis, was battling leukemia. Last year, unfortunately, I was there in memory as Chuck passed away the previous February. In our first year involved as a team, we were able to raise over $27,000, and as Ash said, we were the top fundraising team in St. John's, and that's something that I'm super proud of. So this year, as I mentioned, I'm chair of the corporate committee, and our corporate team is just starting to get things ramped up. We've had a few meetings, a couple of really good ideas. We put an awesome fire pit on the auction for anyone who might be interested in the St. John's area anyway. Yeah, so as was mentioned previously, part of I guess the reason that we're speaking here today, or the topic, is how to make a compelling ask. So a compelling ask could be a couple of things. Yeah, this is Chuck's band, the Matchless Men, for anyone who's familiar with traditional Newfoundland music or Irish Newfoundland music at all. So yeah, making a compelling ask could be multiple things. Oh, you slow down, Ash. Yeah. First thing, I mean, obviously you need to get people on your team. So you want to make sure that you get a good various group of people who are very diversified. But I just wanted to touch on something that Anna said, about and actually what the poll was. Are you comfortable, or how comfortable are you with asking for donations? Anyone who knows me knows that I'm pretty outgoing. I'm pretty loud, and don't seem to get shaken much. But personally, I often find asking for donations in whatever form uncomfortable, and it's just one of those things that you kind of have to shake it off and get off your butt and go do it. Putting it off doesn't really help anything. If you want your team to be successful, you got to get outside your comfort zone and go ask people. So that's just something I added in at the time. So one thing that I touched on first, you want to diversify your team. Get a bunch of people. We have at work, for instance, we have a committee that we have about 5 people on the committee. And we're trying to get everybody in the place involved, of course. But on your committee, and even from your extended team, use people's strengths. So someone may be really good at social media stuff. Someone else may be really good at organizing or scheduling things. Someone might be really creative. So use those talents that people on your team have to the best of your ability or the best of their ability. And, you know, use any affiliations that people might have. You know, people might be involved in different groups. You know, someone might be involved in a soccer mom group or a hockey dad or whatever. You know, use those people, and then they can use their groups. Another thing, you know, the next thing, you know, have passion. You know, if you're really passionate about something, it comes through when you speak about it. You know, don't hold back. You know, let people know, the people that you're speaking to, let them know how enthusiastic you are about Light the Night, about what you're trying to do, about your fundraising. And, you know, that's quite often that's contagious. So, you know, if you're enthusiastic, it'll also transfer over to your team. So, you know, if you really want your team to do really well and, you know, raise lots of money for this, you know, fantastic cause, you know, have passion, show enthusiasm. A thing that I like to do personally when I'm going to, you know, be at a company, or if I'm, you know, approaching even an individual, is, you know, I try to find a common ground with the people that I'm speaking with. For instance, as I mentioned, Chuck was in the traditional Irish Newfoundland band, the Maskless Men. They're one of the best, biggest, most popular traditional bands in Newfoundland, and so they're really well known. So when I speak to anybody, I try to always mention that. And, you know, if there's someone that may have known Chuck, someone that you know might know him from work, from the band, from whatever, I'll kind of always mention that. There was, for instance, there's a company I approached not long ago, and you know, still we're talking to them about being involved and stuff. And so there's a number of people that they have working with them that went to school, you know, at the same place around the same time as Chuck did. So, you know, I made sure that when I was speaking to the owners that I mentioned that fact. And then, you know, that can kind of give the people that are there a bit of a personal connection to, you know, drive them to succeed and to have a great team. Another thing is that, you know, is to make it easy. So people by nature take the path of least resistance. So if you're coming up with an idea or an event, you know, make sure that it's easy for people to be involved with, that, you know, whatever the items are or whatever that you have, you know, it's easy for them to get. And, you know, if there's tickets, you know, it's nice and easy for them to send you money for, you email back a copy of the tickets, you know, whatever. So just have it straightforward, easy. Don't get complicated. Don't try to reinvent the wheel, but just make it super easy for people. Another thing is, you know, be different. So, you know, think outside the box. So, like, for instance, you see over my shoulder right here, those bunch of bottles of wine, they're there intentionally. So when we were on a call about this, probably, I don't know, last week sometime, I think, one of the people on the call, I think it was last Wednesday or Thursday, one of the people on the call mentioned Wine Survivor. So I hadn't heard about this before. So what's Wine Survivor? So I looked it up, and you know, basically, I think the idea was that you put in a bottle of wine valued at about $20, and then you put in an entry fee, which is, I guess, a donation of $15 or $20. And, you know, I like wine, and, you know, I know a lot of people that like wine, but, you know, I kind of, sometimes I like, you know, a little better wine. So I came up with a top shelf Wine Survivor. So we have a minimum $100 bottle of wine and $100 entry fee / donation. And then, you know, the winner gets 50% of the wine, and all the money goes into or goes towards our team and gets donated to Light the Night. So you know, that's something that's kind of taken off good for me, because, you know, I know a lot of people that have similar interests, and so I think we're over 20 bottles now. So, since Thursday past, there's $2,000. Right? So, it's just things like that. Don't feel bad about robbing an idea from someone, because, it's all for a good cause. So, if you hear tell of someone, or you see someone has a good idea, feel free to steal it. Right? At the end of the day, the money is going to the, to the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, and however you can raise funds, and whatever's going to work best for you, is what you should do, really. I mean, don't literally steal money. So the other thing is, when I'm approaching businesses, I try to think, what's in it for them. So as everybody is painfully aware, times are pretty tough right now. Businesses are suffering. There's a lot of places have shut down. Some people aren't working. So when I'm going to speak to a business about, potentially having a team or donating or whatever, I try to think of, a way to approach them so that they will get something out of it. Obviously the main thing that they get out of it is that they help a great cause. But if money is really tight, then, finding a way that you can approach them and have very little costs out of pocket for the particular business owner, but still be able to contribute is really something that can go over well, because people want to help, but if they just don't have the money to cut you a check, they just don't have the money. So like a couple of things that we've done, and actually we just came up with one yesterday that we're going to be putting out, is so we're doing masks, so custom team masks, and we'll be getting that info out through Michelle here in the St. John's office. So we're going to do Light the Night masks, and you can put your own team on. And so what we're going to be doing is, the company that's we know that does some work for us, they make masks, and they print them and stuff, and they're going to give us those at cost. We're going to put them to kind of package them up as kind of a little team thing for us, and then we're going to sell them to whatever teams happen to want them, and all the profits will go towards our team and donating to Light the Night. So it's just some things like that anyone can do that, a similar thing. And another thing that we've that I put towards people when I'm trying to get them to be involved and put a team in, is that there is a morale improvement from the employees when they're working together towards this common goal. And I don't know if anyone has seen the Steel Auto group that they do their teddy bear campaign. They, each of their dealerships now have teams in. They basically swear by how much this has helped their morale in their dealerships. They get little competitions on the go, and yeah, they're a really big contributor here now on the East Coast. And Charlie Raymond, who's involved in our committee, he can't say enough good things about how having a team has helped their dealership and just helped the morale of all their people. So that's just another thing that you can highlight to people when you're approaching them. Another thing is with the fundraising aspect, and money is tight, people don't have as much money as they once had. Adapt your goals. Adapt your goals to the climate that you're in. If you have a goal, say, of $5,000, and last year you had 100 people gave you $50 each. Well, you mightn't get 100 people to give you $50, you mightn't get 50 people to give you $100 each this year. And these are round numbers, obviously, but you might get $50 from 100 people. So just kind of change things up a bit. Aim for smaller amounts of money from more people. Be kind of like Walmart. right? Go on volume. So yeah, that's pretty much I think all I have. One other thing is for any companies that can, what we do is quite often, and we're doing it in this case as a company as an incentive, is we do a matching donation. So up to a certain dollar figure, whatever the team is able to raise, we match it. So that kind of gives a bit of an incentive to our people that are going to work on it. The more money that they can raise, obviously the better. And every dollar that they're able to raise winds up being $2 because the company is gonna match it. So so any companies out there that have teams in there, maybe that's something that you can look at if you can afford it. So yeah, so that's pretty much all I have to say. And I'd just like to thank everybody again for listening. Hopefully I didn't ramble on too much. And yeah, look forward to any questions that you might have at the end.
Thank you so much, Stephen. That was great. So many tips I wrote down from your speech.
More than I thought.
Nice. Thank you so much. Okay, now we're going to go into our second poll. So you'll see it appear on your screen momentarily. And the question is, how often do you share your story or reason for participating when asking for donations? Is it always, often, sometimes, rarely, or never? We'll just give you a few moments. All right. Awesome. That was good to see. It went up. Oh, here we go. Almost 50% of you always use your story when participating or when asking for donations. So that's incredible. Some people believe they don't have a story, but we all have a story. There's always a reason for why we're attracted to the events we are, and why we take part and participate, and why we're passionate about the things that we are. So to talk more about this is our next speaker, Andrea Janzen. Andrea is a passionate and driven leadership coach who believes in setting goals and getting results. She's also an advocate for women and diversity issues in the workplace and speaks at conferences all across North America. Andrea is a fierce fundraiser, just like our other two speakers, and participated in the first Man Woman of the Year campaign in Halifax. Andrea lives with her husband and 3 children in beautiful Nova Scotia, and in her free time, she enjoys running and stand-up paddleboarding. It is an honor to introduce to you today, Andrea Janzen.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for having me and inviting me on this beautiful afternoon to talk about raising money and my story of running for Woman of the Year in 2020. And I want to take you back and just share with you a little bit about my story, because I know in the past, the poll that you just did, half of you said that you share your story every single time. And then Ashley said, a lot of people don't think they have a story to tell. And that was me. I didn't really think I had a story to tell. And I'm going to share my story with you right now because it's been an incredible journey. And to be honest, I think it's the only thing that allowed me to raise, actually be part of a team that raised $280,000 for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society during COVID, and my team raised $22,000. And this was really the first big fundraiser I've ever done in my life. So I will take you back though to where it started. So late 2019, I met Trudy Dyer, who is here, who is the executive director here in Halifax. And she saw me speak at an event and we exchanged contact information, and couple weeks later, she reached out to me and asked to go out for coffee. And of course I said yes. She said, I want to, ask your opinion about something. And I'm like, sure, you're a nice person. I will meet you for coffee. And we're having coffee. And she said, Andrea, we're running this campaign. It's called Man and Woman of the Year. And we're looking for local business leaders to participate and raise money. And she's like, what do you think about this? I'm like, oh yeah, that's a great idea. Sounds good. You want my opinion on like who to pick? That's what I thought the meeting was for. And she said, I think you would be a great candidate. And my immediate reaction was, she's got the wrong person, like not me. Number one, I am not the kind of business leader that she thinks I am. Number two, I am not a fundraiser. I don't know how to do it. And number three was, I don't have a personal connection to the cause. And it's really interesting because she said, okay, well, Andrea, I just want to, will you just listen? And I said, okay, I will listen. And she said, at your workshop, you shared a slide. And I think, Ashley, can you go to my next slide? Because I want to share it with you guys right now. So in everything that I do in my business, so I have a leadership coaching business, and the number one rule that of working with me and that we use with our clients is this picture, and it is your comfort zone. And when you get out of your comfort zone, that's where the magic happens. But the thing that is not on this slide that I want to share with you today, and that was like those thoughts going through my head, was that as soon as Trudy asked me to do this big fundraiser, literally that was me getting out of my comfort zone. But when that happens, the fear, the self-doubt, the imposter syndrome all shows up in your head. But the thing is, that means you're in the magic zone. So I'm telling Trudy about all these reasons why I cannot do this fundraiser. Like, I don't have a big network. I'm not the person you need. I don't have a personal story. There's all these reasons. And she literally has this notebook in front of her, and she opens it and she shows me a postcard. And it was actually the postcard that I had given her when I met her at the talk with this image on it. And so I looked at it and I said, okay, I will think about it. I will think about it. And so I did. And we met downtown, and I'd ridden my bike to that meeting. And the biggest barrier for me in that moment was I didn't think I had a personal connection to the cause. And that was the biggest block for me. And I didn't think I had a story to tell. So why would anybody want to support me in this initiative? And I started biking home, and it's not very far. And by the time I got home, I could literally think of 10 people just off the top of my head that were affected by leukemia or lymphoma in that moment. And then by the time I walked into the door of my house, the decision was made. They're like, I need to do it. This is this opportunity Trudy's given me. She's placed right in front of me. I need to do this for all of these people that I know, even though I didn't really feel like I had that story. And so I signed up, and this was in January, and things were good. I had a team in place. We had events. We were going to do hockey fundraisers. We were going to have some parties. It was all great. Everything was going to be fantastic. And then COVID hit, and I got a message from Trudy that said, it's not canceled. The fundraiser is still on. And in my mind, I'm like, you know what? Like, this would be an easy out, right? Like, I committed to this when there was going to be events, when we could see people in person, and it was canceled. And I talked to Vanessa as well, and something that they said, we're not canceling this fundraising event. We're still going to do it because cancer isn't canceled. And that really spoke to me, and it spoke to me as really being a leader. And in times of crisis, that's when you need leaders to step up. And there was this opportunity, even though things were uncertain, even though we couldn't really leave our house, even though I wasn't actually that confident I could raise a lot of money before COVID, it just put this opportunity right in front of me that in crisis, leaders need to step up. And there was this opportunity, and the light was on me to step up and do something. And so I said, you know what, that's fine. We'll figure it out. You'll be there to help me. Yes, I'm still in. Let's do it. And the interesting thing that happened was the original goal that I agreed to was $10,000. And because of COVID, the team decided that they would give us each a $5,000 goal. So I'm like, okay, I could do the $5,000 goal. And the next day, I actually had a meeting with one of my clients. And the meeting was going really well. And there was 5 minutes left in the meeting. And I told my client this story. And my goal was to just get this person on my team. I wanted this person to agree to be on my fundraising team because COVID had actually, a couple people had dropped off of the team because of COVID. So I'm in this meeting, it's on a video conference, and I tell them the story of how Trudy literally gave me a taste of my own medicine and got me to sign up for this fundraiser. And I told him I need to raise $5,000. Will you help me? And he looked me in the eye, just like I'm looking you in the eye right now on a video conference software, and said, Andrea, $5,000 is too small of a goal for you. If you raise $5,000, I will match it. And I was like, wow, it's working. Like the magic is happening. And so the next day, or maybe a couple days later, I had a team meeting and I told this to my team, and Steve, one of my team members, said, Andrea, you got the match. Like, now we need to raise more than $5,000. Let's raise $10,000 and then we'll get $15,000. And I was like, oh, I got uncomfortable again, but he was really excited. And I said, okay, let's do it. And I thought I was really smart. I'm like, well, if one person's going to give me $5,000, like, why don't we just kind of go big or go home? That was kind of our strategy. And so I challenged my team to actually go out and see if we could get another big corporate match. Because I thought, you know what, if we could get $10,000 in matches, then we could raise $20,000. And the cool thing that happened is my team actually went out and did it. So we were able to get $10,000 in corporate matches, which was pretty incredible. And it sounds really easy. It sounds kind of almost unreal as I'm telling this story right now. But the way that we did it, and I wanted to kind of break it down because I didn't think about it. We just did. We just took action. We just figured it out. We tweaked and we kept moving forward. But when Trudy asked me to share this story with you, I kind of wanted to reverse engineer to see what made this successful. And I think the first thing, it's really just this slide, is just recognize that you need to get out of your comfort zone because that is where the magic happens. And the second thing is the story and making the story about you. And the interesting thing about my story is it's really different than most people. It was different and very unique than every other candidate in the Man and Woman of the Year contest. Nobody has a story like mine. And that's what I think helped me to stand out, and really helped people to engage and want to be a part of it. And the fact that I was so confident in my story allowed my team to really figure out what their story was and figure out their own voice and their own way of going out there and asking people. And I do have to tell you, I have this memory. I wish I had recorded that video, but the look on the face on Stuart, that's the man that said, Andrea, the goal is too small, I will match your $5,000. When he said, yes, I will give you $5,000, the look of joy on his face was something that is like imprinted in my mind forever. And it's this thing that people love to be part of something bigger than themselves. People love to be generous, and that generosity brings joy. And by not asking, you're actually robbing people of that opportunity to do something generous, to give and really experience that joy. So that's like the second thing that I learned. So number one is get out of your comfort zone. Number two is make the story about you. And number three is to just ask, because you never know where people are coming from. So that's my story. And I'll show you this right now, actually. So the other day I was walking.
Wait, Andrea, I have it here.
Oh, you have it there. Okay, so, well, I have the newspaper version you can see. So thank you to the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society for just acknowledging the work that we did. And it was really incredible journey. I feel like I've never actually seen these people in person, but I feel like we are connected in a whole really special way because we all did this really hard thing. We all worked together and we raised $280,000 when none of us could leave our houses. And I feel so connected to them. And just last week, the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society put this beautiful picture in the paper, just acknowledging the work that we did and the contribution that we made. And my neighbor stopped me on the street and said, congratulations, and handed me a copy of that. And it was almost like I forgot that how kind of incredible and how magical that this really was, because at the time I didn't really see it. I was just kind of doing the thing. I was making the asks. I was just telling the story to everybody that would listen, and it worked. So we started out by really focusing on the big asks. So we decided that we're going to get those corporate matches because, you know, telling someone your donation is going to triple was really, really compelling for us. So we started big, and then later we just reached out to people that we knew, and I shared it on my social media. And I have to tell you, like, people that I have not talked to in 15 years stepped up to the plate and donated. And a lot of these people gave $100. So I got a lot. Like, I started with really big donations. We started with the $5,000 donations. We got quite a few $2,500 donations. And then a ton of people stepped up to the plate with $100 donations for me. And so these are my checklists. So number one, get out of the comfort zone. If you only remember one thing from this talk today, get out of the comfort zone. That is the most powerful one. The second one is take action right away. So soon as you decide that you're going to do this, as soon as you decide that maybe you want to up your goal, as soon as you decide or you realize that, you know what, maybe we're not taking enough action towards our goal, we might not going to mean it, just take action as soon as possible. And that could mean telling your story to anybody that could listen. That could mean going to a neighbor and asking. That could be trying to recruit someone else to be on your team. Don't overthink it. Just do it, because people will respond in different ways. And I was a little bit nervous at first about asking for money. And to be honest, last year I did a fundraiser, the MS Bike Tours, and I didn't actually get any sponsors. I sponsored myself. So that is kind of where I used to be. And now I was able to get a team to raise $22,000. So you don't need to be an expert fundraiser to do this. You just need to take action and make those asks and tell your story. And the other thing I want to say is lead by example, because people on your team are going to follow your lead. So instead of telling them what to do, instead of trying to give them tools, I want you to just do it. So I think where the magic really happened is that I really had to get out of my comfort zone. I had to step up to the plate and take on this leadership role. And when my team saw me do it, instead of telling them to do the ask, they were inspired to do it, because they're like, well, if Andrea can get $5,000, why can't I get $5,000? And that's kind of how it rolled out. So that's when I reverse engineered. That's what happened in my story. So I would love to have questions if you guys have any questions, or move on to the next part of this talk. And thank you. And I am just so inspired by all of you that you are taking action. You are doing this. You are putting yourselves out there when it is hard. It's funny. I do coaching for a living. So I really understand. I understand what is going on for people in the world. And it's interesting because back in March when this started, it was like, there's so much uncertainty in the world today. Like, what are we going to do? But thinking about it now, it's almost like that uncertainty is even bigger. Like, it's just going on and on and on, and it's showing up in different ways. So kudos to all of you for having the courage to keep going, putting yourselves out there and doing the right thing and being those leaders that we really, really absolutely need, because cancer is not canceled, and we need all of you to step up to the plate, because the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society needs their money. They need to keep doing research. They need to keep supporting their families, and they need to keep moving forward. And one last thing before we open up to questions, I want to go back to who I did this for. And at the beginning, there wasn't one specific person. It's just like, I'm going to do this because I know so many people. And the day before the gala, I want to tell you about what happened on Facebook. I posted a lot about this on Facebook because I wanted to get donations. And the week before that, I had reconnected with a friend of mine, and I was going to interview her on my podcast. And that day, she had to cancel the interview because she said, Andrea, my nephew's just got diagnosed with cancer. I need to go support my family right now. Can we reschedule the interview? Of course, I said yes. And then a couple of days later, she commented on one of my posts, and she said, Andrea, my nephew has lymphoma. Thank you. Like, people like you are my heroes for stepping up and doing something. And it was such a powerful moment for me, because when I signed up for this fundraiser, I didn't actually even know who I was doing it for. But then I realized Amelia was one of those people, and that I could be that light in probably a really dark time for her. That was just such a powerful motivator for me after the fact. So thank you for listening to my story, and I will pass it back to Ashley.
Thank you so much, Andrea. That was wonderful. Thank you. And right before we get into questions, which we will, and I see them coming in, which is great. So just remember, if you have any questions for any of our speakers, get them in now. And this is our third and last poll for the webcast. So are you registered for the first ever Light the Night virtual broadcast taking place on Saturday, October 24th? So you'll see the poll come up. Just give you a couple moments. Okay. Amazing. It looks like almost 75% of you are registered. That's fantastic. So for those that don't know, Light the Night is going virtual this year. Everything you love about the physical event, the inspiration, the magic, the celebration, all remains the same. But what's even better is that the more you raise, the more tailored and epic the event will be for you. So this is not any Zoom call. We are bringing the Light the Night experience to you. There's celebration kits. We have a lot of celebrities involved. There's a lot of cool things coming down for October 24th. So visit lightthenight.ca to find out more. And we also have fundraising coaches available in your area to help. So that's also on lightthenight.ca. And I'll go over that again at the end of the call. But now we're going to open it up to questions. So I ask that all the speakers please put back on your cameras. And we have some questions here. The first one is for Anna. So Anna, what would you recommend as the first step to take in building a community partnership like you've done with Stake Blue and Realtor and Tupperware? What is the first step to take?
Definitely the first step is to contact them. So what I did is that I contacted, I spoke to Stake Bleu, spoke to Enrico Bocchino, approached Enza Zafiro for Tupperware, and I explained to them a little bit what the cause was and what we were raising funds for. Of course, as I mentioned in my speech before, my goal was to really also bring out influencers and local companies. We know that COVID hit hard for everybody, so we wanted to support them and at the same time really put them out into the LLSC community. And then what we did is that we put them in contact with the team, so Catalina and Tashina, and they were able to get together and figure out what we wanted to donate, how we were going to do it. And honestly, it's been fantastic. The support from both sides has been fantastic. And that's it. It's really, getting into it, asking them, not being shy. And as I mentioned in my speech as well, you might be asking someone and unsure of how it affects them, and they might not have anybody that they know, but they might still want to be part of the cause because cancer is here, and they want to make a difference. So don't be shy to ask, and the chances are you'll get more of a yes than a no.
Thanks, Anna. Our next question's for Andrea. If I have a team of people with all the potential, what would be the first step you would take in motivating the team towards our goal, especially if there is fear and uncertainty?
I would say just recognize that it's normal to be scary, and just really recognize that, like, getting out of your comfort zone. And I think the best thing is you need to, as the leader, you need to do it yourself. You need to show them that it's possible and watch them what can happen first, because that's more powerful than anything you can tell them.
Great. Thanks, Andrea. And Stephen, this question's for you. So you referenced that you had items in the auction to support your fundraising efforts. How are you using different opportunities to choose how to ask people for support? Does it differ at all from what you did in previous years?
Yeah, so I guess we're kind of totally different than pretty much 90% different. So like last year, was our first year as a team, and we put in it was a personal, friends and family team, and so I guess we did a lot of a lot of social media marketing and, just sharing and liking and sending it out to all the people that and whatnot about the different things that we were doing. This year, we have a corporate team, so I've approached a lot more business people that I know, and that's I guess the main difference. We did our own auction last year that we just had on our Facebook group, and it was good. It wasn't as good as I had hoped, but it still raised a decent amount of money. But where the national auction is on this year, that I guess gave us another opportunity to put in some items on that, and I guess just the company being involved and having more corporate involvement is the biggest thing, I guess.
Great, thank you so much. So that was it for questions. So I really want to thank everyone for asking questions and being here with us today. A big thank you to Anna, Stephen, and Andrea for sharing your very personal stories and your expertise with us all. We really appreciate it. Along with the recording to this webcast, a short survey will also be sent. So we would greatly appreciate you taking a moment to fill it in, as it will help us to offer you the most valuable information in future webcasts that we host. If you have any questions about this year's first ever Light the Night virtual event, please reach out to us by visiting lightthenight.ca/contact-us. We have coaches, like I said, in your area ready and wanting to help you. It was such a pleasure to be here with you all today. Thank you for your continued support of the blood cancer community. We can't tell you how much we appreciate it, and we hope you have a wonderful day. Thanks, guys.